I want to talk to you about a very special place.
Magaliesburg is just for me the most wonderful place.
There's incredible gyms, restaurants, venues, activities and things that people can do.
A place where you can just get away.
Is a very, very laid-back area.
All you hear is the birds and the trees and I don't know, you don't hear anything.
My name is Ethan Baird, and every Wednesday at 1 o'clock I take you on a tour of Route 24 in Magaliesburg. This is Discover Magaliesburg. On this week's episode, Magaliesburg, Diamond in the Rough. We look at the perceptions that people have about Magaliesburg.
The town is a bit of an ugly duckling.
The residents of Magaliesburg are in love with the town. We find out why.
It has the mountains, it has the bush, it has rivers, it has water. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
And finally, we look at the reasons that you should take a weekend in this beautiful part of the world.
If you're needing to just leave all the city life behind.
Gay SA Radio, where you are family. My name is Ethan Baird, and this is Discover Magaliesburg. Let's take a look at some of the negative perceptions about the town. Magaliesburg is a small town about 75 kilometers from Johannesburg. It is also the home of Route 24, a collection of 27 guest houses in the surrounding area. However, it seems to be a town that most people drive past in their quest for a weekend away. I spoke to Ernst Kuhlmann, MD of Black Brand Evolution, about the issue.
I believe that Magaliesburg is one of those forgotten little towns. There's a lot of traffic that passes through it. There's incredible gyms, restaurants, venues, activities and things that people can do. But I think people have forgotten or are not aware of it. And if you drive through the small little town, you just think it's another kind of pit stop for a couple of truckers, etc. When in fact there's incredible opportunities and hidden places and spaces within the area. And definitely needs to be considered. You know, it's only an hour's drive from Joburg or Pretoria. And offers a great variety of activities.
That was Ernst Kuhlmann, Managing Director of Black Brand Evolution. He is consulting for Whispering Pines, one of the guest houses on Route 24. Ernst, why do you think Magaliesburg is not getting the traction it deserves?
It not to finger point any direction. I think that there's these beautiful commercialized environments like the Dahlstroms, the Clarences, the Cullinans, the Parises of the world. And then, just on our doorstep, Hartbeespoort, Harties created a brand themselves. They've created a space where people come down that strip and it's a main road. It's just outside of four ways you can get onto that space, and you've got everything from little movie sets to, to the reptile park, to the cable cars. There's all of these activities. Before you know it, it's just been missed. People just take a different route or drive or just go straight through it and not realizing what value there is in the area.
I asked Alex Slurton, Junior Associate for Black Brand Evolution and Consultant for Whispering Pines, why he thinks Magaliesburg is being ignored.
Yeah, and I also feel like, we've got Maropeng, Sterkfontein Caves. There's a lot of activities that almost lend off the fact that, so before you've even hit Magaliesburg, there's so much before that. You've got the Lion Park, you've got these attractions that almost prevent you from coming out as far. Just another 20 minutes down the road and there's Magaliesburg. So I think it's very important for Route 24 and the individual properties to identify what is it that we offer, and then get that out to the public, make them aware of it. Because once they are aware, that extra 20 minutes drive just becomes so much more worth their time. Right, yeah. So once they're aware, so getting the people here is my number one challenge. And then once they're here, you are most likely to have them return and that sort of thing, because of the peacefulness, because of the tranquility, because of the friendliness of the staff on each individual property, the passion really. And I think it may not have been forgotten, but we definitely need to bring it back out to the life, bring back the people, bring back the passion really.
Thank you so much, Ernst and Alex from Black Brand Evolution. We'll be hearing more from them in future episodes where we will talk about the vision of Route 24. Jenny Gillis runs Pefumula, another of the guest houses on Route 24. She is one of 3 different Jennies that I spoke to. You'll hear from the other 2 later. Jenny, I must admit that when I drove into Magaliesburg on the way to meet you guys, I was guilty of judging the entire area based off just what I saw in the town. Only after passing through that and then driving out into the country did I get a full sense of what Magaliesburg is all about.
You know, Magaliesburg itself, the town, is a bit of an ugly duckling. So your point is extremely important, that people must not form a view just having a look at driving through the ugly duckling town. There's a lot of work being done by the Magaliesburg Business Forum to actually create opportunities for people in terms of jobs and to try to improve the look and feel of this little town, Magaliesburg. And, it's important because if you look at the area, the one thing that's growing in Magaliesburg and in the environs is the hospitality industry, and that's creating a lot of jobs. I think Route 24, with our 27 or so members, I think currently has created about 150 jobs, and these are all new jobs. So that's something that a lot of the businesses are doing. And actually, if you go into any business in Magaliesburg, except something like the spa, but if you go into the bookshop, you'll find the person who owns the bookshop is there. You go into the pie shop, the person who makes the pies is there. So you're totally right that it's a very personal kind of industry that occurs in and around Magaliesburg.
That was Jenny from Pefamula. We'll be hearing more from her soon when we talk about why she loves Magaliesburg. But first, KSA Radio, where you are family, welcome to Discover Magaliesburg. This is a once-a-week show where we look at the beautiful town of Magaliesburg, specifically focusing on Route 24, a collection of 27 guest houses in and around the area. My name is Ethan Baird, and I am your host every Wednesday from 1 to 1:30. Coming up in the show, we will talk about why you should go to Magaliesburg for a weekend away.
They don't want to pay toll fees to get to their destination. They don't want to spend hours in the car traveling to the destination.
But first, Jenny Gillis, owner of Pefamula, has been involved with Magaliesburg for most of her life.
Well, my parents bought a farm when I was 6 years old, so that's many years ago. And so we were weekend farmers, and I used to come out with my folks every weekend. When they eventually sold the farm, when they kind of got older, the farm became a bit of a hassle. Then I kept a small section, which was only 5 hectares, and I built a house there and had just a little weekend getaway. But then when I met and married my husband, we decided we wanted to do something much more than what we were able to do on the 5 hectares. So we bought a 200-hectare spot right against the mountain, a kilometre of the mountain to the top, and we started building a guest house. That was in 2010.
Jenny, like everyone else who lives here, is in love with the place. So Jenny, what excites you about living in Magaliesburg?
One thing that's really exciting is that some of the leopards are starting to come back into the mountains and starting to breed there. And there are a couple of leopards that are collared and people are tracking them. And so we had actually 3 leopards on our farm about 2 weeks ago that were feeding off one of our dead animals, a cow that we had to put down. So it's amazing, an hour and a half out of Joburg, you've got leopards. We've also got brown hyena. We've got a lot of the antelope that just occur naturally there. And there are a lot of game farms in and around this area of Magaliesburg. So there's a lot of natural occurring game, as well as people having brought in other antelope species.
The wildlife is just one of the reasons that the residents of Magaliesburg are in love. For Werner Kumpf, chairman of Route 24, the decision to move to Magaliesburg was an easy one.
I came to Magaliesburg in 2008, actually only here for a weekend in holidays. And Magaliesburg is a very, very laid-back area, and I was fascinated from the bush and the farms and the whole environment. And living in Johannesburg, it was too noisy, too crowded, and I thought, wow, that would be a place to stay.
Werner also owns his own guest house, Riverbend Cottages. Werner, why do you love living in Magaliesburg?
Well, from my experience, it's also Magaliesburg and surroundings is a little bit more low crime area. And if you are used to live in a town hidden behind burglar bars, security gates, alarm systems ring the whole night, and you come out here and you experience, like I did it, staying in a guest house with no burglar bars, it's like, wow, you live in paradise. You forget how is it to sleep with open windows, to let your door open and nothing happens, and you don't have to look permanently around your shoulder and thinking, oh, maybe I forgot to close the door. It's a completely different quality of life. And I think that attracts. That is what you miss when you go back to Johannesburg. Yeah. It's a little bit like a virus.
That was Werner Kumpf, chairman of Route 24 and owner of Riverbend Cottages. We will talk more to Vanna in future about the history of Route 24. During my time interviewing the members of Route 24, I started noticing a trend. Many of the guest house owners are people who used to live fast-paced lives in Johannesburg and decided they need to break away from that life. Peter James, owner of Pushka Farm, made the jump quite some time ago.
I've been at Pushka. I started Pushka about 20 years ago. I'm retired. I used to be a patent attorney, and this is my dream. Linda and I are living our dream on our farm, which is about 30 k's outside of Magaliesburg.
So Peter, can you please tell me why you decided to move here?
I came to Magaliesburg about 30 years ago. Firstly as a weekender, and then permanently living here. Magaliesburg is just for me the most wonderful place. Number one, it is close to Johannesburg and Pretoria, and so when I lived in Johannesburg, it was a place to get away to. And that is what is so fantastic about it. It has the mountains, it has the bush, it has rivers, it has water. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
What was the transition from Johannesburg to Magaliesburg like?
It wasn't totally an easy shift. I decided, because my firm went through a merger, Linda and I rather, decided to shift our center of gravity from Johannesburg to Magaliesburg because we had the farm already. And so we, first of all, bought the local petrol station, and Linda ran that. Obviously, we needed to put food on the table, so we needed a business. We found the petrol station. We ran the petrol station for 10 years. And that was the reason how we effected the shift. As I said, it wasn't a totally easy shift because obviously finances were less than when I was working as a patent attorney. And then we eventually decided about 5 years ago that we just wanted to be at home on our beautiful farm. It's in a beautiful valley. And so we sold the petrol station and we decided to just continue with the guest houses that we've got, the guest cottages that we've got.
Do you ever regret your decision to move?
I wouldn't change it. I was born and bred in Johannesburg, lived there most of my life. This is my dream. This is my dream. And I think that I'm very fortunate to have a wife who it's also her dream. So I think that's what makes it special for us.
That was Peter James, owner of Pushka Farm, chatting to us about why he moved to Magaliesburg. Coming up, I'll find out why Route 24's guests keep coming back. This is Discover Magaliesburg on KSA Radio, where you are family. You're streaming KSA Radio, where you are family. My name is Ethan, and this is Discover Magaliesburg. Every week at 1 o'clock, we take a look at Route 24. This is a group of gay-friendly guest houses in the beautiful area known as Magaliesburg. If you would like to find out more about Route 24, you can check out route-24.co.za. On the site, you'll be able to take a tour of the 27 guest houses in the area. I'm talking to two more Jennies about why they think you should come to Magaliesburg. Firstly, Jenny Fernhold. Her guest house is called Nalabor. Why do you think so many people decided to uproot their lives to move out to Magaliesburg?
Because there is a sense of serenity that one can get from living out in the country that you don't realize is there until you get out into the country. There are other factors, obviously. Fact that I'm a very avid horse riding person was a fairly big factor, and I would attribute wanting to move out to the farming area to that, to a point, but not primarily. Primarily, it was to get out of the city.
Okay, and do you think you've done the right thing?
Without a doubt. I would never ever move back to Joburg. If I go into Joburg, it feels like I'm completely oppressed. I can't handle the rush. I can't handle the traffic. I don't know how I handled working in Joburg for as many years as I did. But certainly now being out here in the country where all you hear is the birds and the trees and I don't know, you don't hear anything.
I come from a small town, and one of the things I dearly miss is to be able to see the stars in the night sky. I think many of us living in the city completely forget that this stuff even exists.
People don't know when there's a full moon. And what you do when you come out into the country, not that we just concentrate on full moons, sorry, I think they're quite overrated because a new moon is just as beautiful. But when you see the stars outside and the clarity of that view that you've got and the sunrises and the sunsets, we lose that. You're 100% right, because typically, and I can't generalize for everybody, obviously, but typically in the city, if you are fortunate enough to have a view and do have access to seeing a sunrise, it's very seldom that you'll actually have the ability to see the sunset. So you're limited in that is what is available to you. And when you're out in the country, everything is just so open and clear, and the skies are completely underrated by city people because they simply don't see them.
Why do your guests keep coming back to Route 24?
A combination of proximity. They don't want to travel for hundreds of miles. They don't want to pay toll fees to get to their destination. They don't want to spend hours in the car traveling to the destination. And when they get out, they want to feel that they are completely in the country. And I think that's a fairly big draw card, that when you travel out to Magaliesburg, you feel like you're in another world. You haven't just traveled an hour from Joburg. You've traveled to another planet. And that's the big feedback that I get from my guests.
That was Jenny Fernhold from Nullarbor. The third and final Jenny I spoke to at Route 24, Jenny Mosley from Thirsty Falls, gave me this message to play for you.
If you're needing a quiet space, if you're needing to just leave all the city life behind for the couple of hours that you're needing, it is definitely a space to come to, because it does afford that. And because, the actual traveling in the car is not that much, which today has become also an issue, I would say it just seems to be traveling-wise, spatial-wise, it fits into that weekend slot.
GSA Radio, where you are family. My name is Ethan. This is Discover Magaliesburg. As you can see, Magaliesburg has a lot more to offer than you might expect. Join me next week as we take a deeper look at Magaliesburg's nature and wildlife. In the meantime, check out route-24.co.za to find out more about this amazing area. Route 24, the road to great hospitality, good times, and wonderful memories.